Gabriel Valley. We have Joan Guilford, Secretary Treasurer of CWA 9505. Shalom Lorenzana, President of the Filipino American. We also have some outstanding community folks, such as Dr. Robert Peck, who is over 20 years in the Huntington area, is serving as a doctor, representing and supporting the nurses and others in the community. Dr. Peck also actually served as a doctor here at Huntington. We'd like to have him share some words today as well. We also have Dale Gronemeyer from the organization ACT. Where's Dale? And we also have Mike Aguilera from the Congressman Schiff's office. See, and I know we also have City Council member Terry Kornick. Where's And we're going to have some more folks coming in, so we'll be giving some recognitions throughout the event. But without further ado, let's go ahead and we'll be introducing Dolly Wilson. She's one of the ER nurses here at Huntington Memorial.
Like Denise. I don't know. I'm trying to. Okay. This might be loud. I said ER nurse. I can project. Okay. I promise I can project. Come on, you're an ER nurse. Okay. Yeah, I can project. Like Denise said, my name's Dolly. I've been a nurse almost 5 years now. I have my bachelor's degree. I recently just board certified ER nurse, and I've been here at Huntington about 2 years. I can't thank you guys enough for coming out to support us today. This means the world to us, and of course to our patients as well. And I wanted to welcome you guys, the community, to our hospital. And I just wanted to give a special thanks to Congresswoman Judy Chu, the U.S. Representative for the California's 27th Congressional District. She actually wrote her own letter that we will be giving to Steve Ralph today. And I also want to welcome Pasadena City Council member Victor Gordo. I'm so excited to be here among so many amazing nurses. Nurses who have collectively decided it was time to speak up and have a real voice in our workplace and a real voice in patient care. These voices have raised concerns for patient safety and patient care. These same voices have also enabled us to advocate for not only our patients, but our fellow coworkers. In March of this year, we had a horrendous electronic medical record transition, which left the nurses exhausted and at their wits' end, and left our patients without the care they needed from us, to include timely pain management and longer than normal wait times in the ER. There's nowhere near enough support staff for the nurses. The night of the transition was so bad, we had nurses resign on the spot. And many of our patients had wished that they had sought treatment elsewhere that day, as they suffered right alongside with us. The worst part is that this could have all been avoided had they allowed us to put input into our electronic medical record system. Originally, there was a team of nurses put together, a team of nurses that would have been able to provide input to the technologists building our system. But for whatever reason, that group of nurses was disbanded, and there was no nursing input at all whatsoever. And that was it. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, you guys. Not a month later did we begin our journey organizing with the California Nurses Association. campaign by creating our nurse-to-nurse network. This meant we were speaking to each other about what having union representation meant and the positive effects it would have on the delivery of patient care, and how it had the potential to improve working conditions and morale at the hospital. In the ER, we found that we were poorly staffed. It was getting worse. Nurses were leaving and they were not being replaced. We worked most nights and days as a skeleton crew. Not enough help. A simple break was a distant thought, and we were lucky if we had just 1 second to use the restroom. In speaking with other nurses, we found that the ER wasn't the only unit suffering. Housewide, the nurses were meeting similar challenges, and they were not being staffed by severity of patient illness, or acuity as we refer to it. We are also found to be in violation of Title 22, which is the California established nurse-to-patient ratio law, and was a common practice for the charge nurses to have patient assignments while also running the entire unit. Since the start of the organizing drive, we have seen some improvements around the hospital. ICU finally got water in the break room. Maternity got new flooring installed last month after asking for 7 years. The ER is currently training a few new hires for a total of 21 new nurses hired since the start of the campaign. But unless we vote to have our own union, none of these gains will be permanent. Our efforts to improve patient care and patient safety and working conditions have been met with much resistance. Many of us who are pro-union have had our labor rights violated by management and administration. They have interrogated us, intimidated us, and placed us under surveillance. In addition to hiring a very high-dollar union-busting consultant by the name of Genevieve Clairvaux to try to stop us in our progress. Who is Genevieve, you might ask? She is the CEO of Outside the Box Solutions and who is behind the I Stand With Huntington page. We believe this page was developed in an attempt to divide the nurses. Divide the nurses here at Huntington by using the age-old divide and conquer. This woman is against nurses even though she claims to be one herself. Needless to say, they, management and administration, have been and are continuing to violate our labor rights along with jeopardizing patient safety and patient care. So a few brave nurses filed charges with the National Labor Board. And I'm excited, so excited to report to you guys that we received our first merit ruling this week for the charges of intimidating and interrogating nurses. Woo! I'm here today to tell you that we are Huntington Hospital. It is the nurses, it is the ancillary staff, the doctors who make up this hospital, and the services we offer to the community. We love where we work and the people that we work with. Yeah. It is because of our hard work and dedication that Huntington has gained a world-class status and continues to make the U.S. News and World Report's best list, along with the prestigious recognition of magnet status. However, in spite of all these great things, technical difficulties. In spite of all these great awards, many of us have seen the quality of care here decline and have been asked to do more with less. And we've been asked to put our patient safety in jeopardy just to save the hospital a couple of bucks. We are here today to focus on striving to restore the hospital's reputation in the community and to focus on improving patient care and patient safety standards. Today we stand here with full support from the community, and ask management and administration at Huntington Hospital to allow us to peacefully organize for our own union and to stop the union busting, to stop the intimidating, to stop the bullying, to stop breaking the labor laws, and most importantly, to stop violating patient safety. Until then, we will continue to advocate and fight the good fight for our patients and stand along strong together for our right to organize. After all, this is what we all signed up for, right? It was to care for the sick and injured and to give a voice to those who had none. Thank you, guys.
All right, let's hear it for Dolly Wilson from the So we would like to go ahead and see if the crowd can move a little bit over to the grass. We just want to make sure that the sidewalk is clear for folks. And we'd like to clear the way for our special guest here, Congresswoman Judy Chu. Do I need that really?
No, if you don't.
I have a very loud voice. So. Well, I am here to say that I support the right of the nurses to organize. Yeah. When I heard that nurses were being pulled into private meetings to make them go anti-union, I was shocked. When I heard that there was a nurse that came with her 10-year-old son to talk to other nurses and then was turned away and photographed, I was shocked.
Yeah.
When I heard that nurses that are simply handing out flyers are being photographed and then their photos being turned to the administration, that's uncalled for. And then when I heard that the solicitation policy was changed so that nurses can no longer go and talk to other nurses on their own time on company property, I was appalled. You know why I was appalled? Because the right to solicit during non-work hours, even on company property, is protected by the National Labor Relations Act. Now, I heard that the administration brought in a corporate union busting firm whose sole purpose is to stop the union.
Right.
And yet, the hospital says, quote, "We acknowledge and respect the right of all employees to voluntarily decide to be represented by the union." Then why would you need to bring in such a firm? Let the democratic vote happen. Now, I want to tell all of you nurses that I know what the value is of being in a union. Why? Because I was a member of a union myself for 20 years. I belong to the American Federation of Teachers College Guild Local 1521, and I will never forget one day when I received a pink slip. The reason is because the board of the College of Trustees decided to do a terrible thing at one of their meetings. That is, I was teaching at Los Angeles City College. I had been there actually for 6 years at that point. The district was facing a budget deficit, and they decided that what they would do to solve their budget problem was to lay off 200 tenured teachers. I was shocked. And so I will never forget the union and what it did to save my job. They organized the teachers. They organized the community. They had protests and they had rallies. And they put a lot of pressure on the trustees. And guess what? The trustees overturned that decision. So I will forever be grateful to the union for what it did to save my job. And I know that unions can provide a stronger voice for anyone who joins it. And certainly you, the nurses, have the right to have a stronger voice. You are on the front lines of patient care every single day. You are the ones that are hearing the patient's concerns, and you are the ones taking care of them. And certainly, you deserve to be organized, to be together, and to be able to improve conditions at work in whichever way you think best. And so, it is my great hope that this administration will allow a democratic vote to happen to form a union. And so I have my own letter saying the things that I just told you, and I know that you are going to be presenting the petition and letters to the administration. So I would like to present it to you so that you can present it to the administration today. And so thank you, Alicia Almada, for accepting this. And please present my sentiments to the administration about the right of nurses to form a union.
A few more nurses are going to speak, and then at that point, some of the nurses will break away with some of the community support to actually deliver a community letter, along with the letters from all these prestigious members of the community that have come out in support. And then we'll go ahead at that point and continue on with some of the other folks that have come here in support to give their few words of support and encouragement for the nurses organizing here. So without further ado, Alicia Almada from the ICU.
First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for taking time out of their busy schedules to come here today in support of our efforts to improve patient care here at Huntington Hospital.
Right.
My name is Alicia Almada, and I am a proud Huntington Hospital RN. I work in the intensive care unit where we take care of people who have had a stroke, open heart surgery, or a bad pneumonia, just to name a few examples. We are the only trauma center here in the San Gabriel Valley, so we often care for people who have been involved in car accidents, hiking mishaps, and violence. Not only is the hospital important to this community, but it has also been a big part of my life. My mother started here as a new grad RN right out of Cal State LA. And she has never left. I was born here, as many of you probably were or know someone who was. I volunteered here, and I was a nurse's aide here. Okay. Before I started as a new grad RN in the ICU. My uncle is a volunteer here, and even our family dog volunteers here once a week. I have always been proud to call myself part of the Huntington Hospital family.
Yeah.
But like every family, we have our quirks and our problems. And unfortunately, these problems are having a negative effect on our patients. During our organizing effort, management has become disconnected and focused on union busting and not on patient care, and not on the changes we, the nurses, are demanding. For example, about a month ago, I was caring for a patient on life support. Despite all of our efforts, he was not expected to survive the night. The doctors had explained the situation to the family, and the decision was made that should his heart stop beating, we would not intervene. As nurses, we not only care for the patients, but we care for the patient's family as well. This especially was true in this situation. Although there was nothing that I could do to save the patient, I knew that I could do so much to help this family on one of the worst days of their life. I tried my best to prepare them and answer their questions. Questions like, can he hear me? Questions like, can I help you clean his body? Questions like, why is this happening? And is he in pain? Some questions just can't be answered. After answering the questions that I could, and just listening to them share stories about this patient, I emerged from the patient's room to find my manager was looking for me. This was odd considering it was a Friday night and my manager had left for the day hours earlier. She found me a few minutes later and asked, "Is he still here?" referring to my patient. To which I replied, "Yes, but not for much longer." "Oh, okay. Come to my office. I need to do your annual evaluation." 3 months late. What? I thought to myself, she wants to do my annual performance evaluation right now as my patient is dying. Noticing my hesitation, she waved her hand as one does to swat away an annoying gnat or an inconvenience. "It'll only take 10 minutes, she said. She was insistent and I knew she wouldn't back down. In a state of disbelief, I asked my coworker to keep an eye on my patient. If his heart stops beating, I told her, knock on the manager's office door. I'll be out right away. 10 minutes became 20, and sure enough, there was a knock on the door. My patient had died, and I wasn't there. I wasn't there for my patient's family. After I had assessed my patient and paged the doctor, I went and told my manager. I can't recall what she said right away, probably because I was still in a disbelief state, that I was having my annual evaluation while my patient died. I snapped back to reality when my manager told me I was getting a raise and that it had nothing to do with the union. I saw red. I was pulled away from my patient's deathbed for this. I think I said thanks, signed my eval, and walked out. My patient's family wanted to give him a sip of water after he died, as this was an important cultural tradition. In order to do this, the breathing tube had to be removed. However, I couldn't remove the breathing tube without clearance from the coroner's office. That 20-minute stint in the manager's office snowballed into a 2-hour delay before the family could perform their ritual. I could have been making phone calls to ensure I got clearance in a timelier manner. My manager's insistence to tell me I was getting a pay raise and that it had nothing to do with organizing caused a delay in care. It caused my patient's family to wait 2 hours before they could perform an important ritual. This focus on union busting needs to stop now. The focus needs to be on patient care. Thank you for coming today to remind Huntington that they need to focus on the community they serve. Together we stand for our patients and our community.
It's hard for you to tell, but it's an important story to be heard.
So we are going to go ahead at this moment and read off the letter that's going to the community. And Gloria is going to be reading that from the ER. And then we're going to ask for those of you that didn't get the opportunity to sign the letter to join in on signing it so your voices too can be heard on this issue.
Hello everybody, I'm Gloria, a proud nurse from the ER.
Go Glow!
So this is a letter to Mr. Steve Ralph, President and Chief Executive Officer of Huntington Memorial Hospital Enterprise. So on November 6, 2014, to Mr. Stephen Ralph, we members of the community support nurses' efforts to restore the fine reputation that Huntington Memorial Hospital has enjoyed for many years. As elected officials, employees, patients, public safety, first responders, and health activists, we strongly agree with the nurses that any compromise to the quality of Huntington patient care services must be addressed. We know that nurses must work understaffed and do more work with less help, oftentimes without sufficient supplies, equipment, and training. In addition, economic benefits like bonuses for employees have been cut, attendance and other policies have been made more restrictive, support staff hours have been cut back or eliminated, and last year, nurses' pensions were frozen. Such practices impact recruitment and retention, negatively affecting patient care. After Huntington nurses collectively requested patient care improvements from administration in June, Huntington Memorial Hospital management began suppressing nurses' federal labor rights to form a union through intimidation, interrogation, and harassment. Management has threatened nurses with the loss of health care and nurse assistants if they join the California Nurses Association, CNA. Management has forbidden nurses from talking about the union with coworkers while off duty, and they have surveilled nurses engaged in union activities. The National Labor Relations Board has already informed CNA that they have found merit with one of the charges committed by the Huntington management for interrogating employees about their protected activities. Within the next few months, other charges will likely be issued. We call on Huntington administration to comply with all California patient care laws and cease violating nurses' federal labor rights.
And then the nurses are going to go ahead and deliver this along with some of the prominent members of the community. But until then, Bridie Roberts from CLU, could we please have you up here so you can share a few words?
Manuel, vamos a hacer la entrevista aquí ahora.
Oh, yeah, that's
Where's Mike?
Amigos, reporta Roberto Fernandez para el canal cristiano, aquí con ustedes de Pasadena, en el hospital Huntington Memorial. Nos encontramos aquí apoyando a un grupo de enfermeras que están haciendo su exigencia, sus derechos, para poder ser parte de la unión en este hospital, cosa que el hospital, lo que es la administración, no está de acuerdo con ella y han tenido que venir a manifestar su voto en un país como este, lleno de democracia, y por eso tenemos aquí con nosotros a dos enfermeras que van a hacer eco de las palabras que estoy diciendo. ¿Me dijo usted se llamaba?
Jackie.
Gloria Contreras.
Gloria, ¿nos puede explicar qué está sucediendo?
Bueno, estamos tratando de agarrar más enfermeras para darle más buen cuidado a nuestros pacientes. Ahorita no tenemos suficiente enfermeras y estamos trabajando con mínimo equipo y necesitamos más enfermeras.
Lo más importante es poderles dar mejor cuidado a los pacientes y desafortunadamente hay veces que, por ejemplo, trabajamos en emergencia. Como este domingo solo trabajamos con 2 enfermeras en una sección. Si se pueden dar cuenta, emergencias es un departamento que tiene 50 camas. En una sección de 14 camas solo habían 2 enfermeras, que son 8 pacientes nada más. ¿Qué pasa con los demás? Si somos un hospital de especialidad para infartos cerebrales, infartos del corazón y traumas para poder dar ese tratamiento a los pacientes, porque si no, se quedan ignorados.
¿Y qué pasa en el sentido de la union? Ustedes están proclamando para ser parte de la union y la administración no se lo permiten. ¿Nos puede hablar sobre eso?
Desafortunadamente, nosotros antes de organizar con la unión, le llevamos todos estos problemas a la administración y la administración nada más escuchaba, más no daba soluciones. Entonces nos cansamos y empezamos a organizar. Una vez organizando, empiezan los ataques hacia las enfermeras, haciéndonos sentir inferiores, metiendo miedo que vamos a perder el trabajo, que vamos a perder beneficios, que vamos a perder pensión. Y pues el día de hoy, si se fijan, no hay muchas enfermeras, pero hay demasiadas enfermeras que sí están apoyando la causa, pero tienen miedo.
Jackie, ¿tú qué nos puedes decir?
Bueno, en otro turno que yo trabajé, trabajamos sin secretaria, sin asistente para ayudarnos a limpiar el cuarto. Fui a ver mi paciente y la cama no estaba limpia como debe de estar. Eso me cargó mucho en el corazón porque a mí no me gusta dar cuidado así a nuestros pacientes. Con suficiente equipo, con suficiente enfermeras, asistentes, podemos darle el cuidado que podemos que queremos darle a los pacientes. Y por eso estamos aquí, para pelear por los derechos de nuestros pacientes de Huntington.
¿Ustedes creen que con esta manifestación que se está haciendo hoy en día, ustedes puedan lograr esa meta, ustedes puedan ser escuchados por la administración, escuchados por la union y fomentar una mejor opción y que más enfermeras puedan incorporarse al hospital?
Pues ojalá que sí, usted sabe que la unión hace la fuerza y con la ayuda de nuestro Señor Jesús, ojalá que todos lo podamos lograr, porque estamos aquí para ser sus ayudantes de nuestro Señor, para poder sanar, y eso es lo que estamos aquí, y Dios quiera que sí.
Con Dios se puede todo, y nosotros sabemos que Dios está en nuestro lado.
Ya, Él es justo.
Ha sido unas palabras maravillosas de estas dos enfermeras que luchan por sus derechos, derecho que es inalienable, derecho que debe ser otorgado urgentemente, y usted que me está escuchando, apoyen. Esa es su palabra, es su decisión, hermano. Usted vive aquí en Pasadena, usted también sabe que otras enfermeras quizás están pasando por lo mismo. Nuestra misión es seguir adelante, porque con Dios todo, sin Dios nada.
Amén.
Muchas gracias.
Amén.
Gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Mentioned, but my colleague Terry Tornick from the City Council is here. Gary Moody, president of the NAACP, is here with us. Now let me tell you why I'm here. You heard a very touching and compelling story from Alicia. Very touching and compelling story about patient care. When my grandmother was sick, terminally sick, it was nurses who comforted my family. When friends have been sick, it's been nurses who have comforted their family. When my field rep, Vanya's son, was very ill and at this hospital for weeks, it was nurses who comforted their family. When my mother was terminally ill to a disease she ultimately succumbed to, it was nurses who held my 5-year-old brother here. So as an elected official, I feel it important for me and other elected officials who have a voice, who have the honor and the privilege to have an elected voice, to be here today to amplify your voice, to say very clearly that you have the right to bring up issues that affect patient care, that affect safety and patient safety and employee safety, staffing issues, because all of those issues are important to you, they're important to me, and they're important to the city of Pasadena. And they're uniquely important to the city of Pasadena because Pasadena is one of 3 cities in the entire state of California that has its own health department. 3 cities. And so every person in this city should be concerned, interested, and engaged in this discussion. Because we can't count on the county health department. We count on our own health department. And when counting on our own health department, we count on our partners. And our main partner for healthcare is this hospital, Huntington Hospital. And the backbone of this hospital is its nurses.